Chicago PD is drawing to a close, and as the show reaches its pinnacle, Tracy Spiridakos, who plays Detective Hailey Upton on the hit police procedural drama, has been revealing all about that stunt she pulled off earlier in the season, in which she attempts a rescue after a driver crashes into water. Today, we're discussing Tracy's stunt, plus she's giving us her thoughts on Upton's tough call, so don't go anywhere. First up, how has Season 9 played out so far? If you happen to be a fan of Chicago PD, you might know that the showrunner has recently changed. Previously, Rick Eade was at the helm, but back in the earlier part of the season, Gwen Seaking, who had previously served as executive producer on the show, was promoted to showrunner. And we have seen some major storyline changes since the switch-up. Seaking also commented that there would be big overarching themes for our characters, and she conceded that the infrastructure was already there for a smooth transition after she came in mid-season. So where are we up to? Well, fans noticed a bit of a shift after Seaking took the reins, particularly in the relationship between Voight and Halstead. Voight has now taken on a different role after they foiled the FBI's plot to pin the Roy Walton murder on him, which has given Jay the authority he's always craved over Voight. As well as this, there was a change in the relationship between Halstead and Upton, who went from quite a frosty relationship, even though they were engaged, to eloping. LaRoyce Hawkins, who plays Kevin Atwater, has also chimed in, saying he's glad of the direction Seaking is taking his character, whilst also giving props to writer Ike Smith. He also thinks the change at the top has had effects on Burgess and Ruzick too, which is a positive. Obviously, we don't want to give too much away as there are only a couple of episodes left, but what have you thought about the season so far? Let us know below. So what did Tracy have to say about her stunt scene? So as we mentioned briefly, and as you will know if you're currently up to date with season 9, back in January, Tracy's character had to pull off a pretty extreme stunt as part of her storyline. It saw her character, Detective Upton, out for a run when she suddenly witnesses a car crash and plunges into the Chicago River. She dives into the water to rescue the driver, who just so happens to be the main suspect in the case she was investigating. How is that for luck? But it wasn't Tracy at all who was performing the dive into the river. It was her stunt double, Kelly Scarangello, who plunges into the water. Tracy did the underwater shots in a big water tank out west to make sure everything came out together perfectly on screen. But we have to give Kelly the props she deserves for that dive. Tracy did say she had to dive into the water wearing a winter coat, and I'm not a great diver, before revealing she was more of a cannonball aficionado, so it was quite difficult for her to look graceful. Us too, Tracy. She also revealed how difficult it was for her character to deal with the morals of potentially letting someone down, who probably deserved to. She said, the decision to go in is that growth in her. There was nobody around and she's like, I want to do the right thing. She had a moment of thinking about what she was gonna do, who she was going to be, and then made the decision. Tracy was also on hand to tell us about her character's relationship with Hank. Stay tuned to hear her views. As we know, our main characters' relationships have changed during season 9. Not only have we seen Halstead and Upton become closer to each other throughout the season, but we have seen Upton and Voight's relationship also change. And Tracy had her say on how she views their pair's relationship and what it means for them going forward. She said, I think Hailey used to have Voight on a bit of a pedestal, and I think that that's changed now for her. I think that she still respects him and loves him like family, but I think that what has happened has completely shifted her point of view and has shifted how she sees him. An interesting take. What are your views on how their relationship has evolved? Spiridakos went on to reveal that she has no idea what's coming up throughout the season, which we find a little difficult to believe if we're being honest, but she does feel that her character's relationship with Voight is going to be definitely different for her going forward, between the two of them for sure. We think that this is probably a given, taking into account that all that's happened between the pair, so it will be interesting to see what happens in the final 2 episodes. How do you guys see the 9th season playing out? Give us your thoughts below. Jesse Lee Soffer has had his say on that sex scene now. Stay tuned. In the 9th episode of the current season, we saw Halstead and Upton get extremely up close and personal in a pretty steamy sex scene. It seemed as though the pair were doomed after Halstead found out about Upton's role in the death of Roy Walton, but Halstead and Voight figured out a plan to throw the FBI off the scent and save themselves. When asked recently about the sex scene, Soffer was pretty coy and even claims he didn't watch it. The pair got married in secret on the show, and the episode ended up with them indulging in a bit of hanky-panky, and Soffer claimed that he didn't have time to watch the episode. He went on to claim that if someone tells him the scene was intense, then he would have just take their word for it. He even said that because they've been playing partners and love interests for so long, that it's second nature. We're not sure we're having that, to be honest. When he said that they're performing a sex scene is like water off a duck's back for him, as he has plenty of experience working on soaps, plus Tracy is in the same boat, given the fact he doesn't have time to watch his own sex scenes, does that mean he doesn't watch Chicago PD at all? He did say he doesn't have time to watch TV, but we can't imagine his bosses at the show will be too happy when they realize he doesn't even watch it himself. So how true to life is Chicago PD? As most of you will know from varying reports, Chicago has had its fair share of problems throughout the 21st century and has seen crime rates soar. The Windy City also has one of the highest murder rates annually, and regularly features in the top 10 lists of most violent cities in the nation. But how true to life is our favorite cop show? Apparently, the show has the technical side pretty much nailed. One person on Quora, Chris Hurley, a former Chicago police officer, has revealed that things like uniforms, equipment, and police lingo are pretty much spot on. But there are flaws on the procedural side. Obviously, they have to cram a ton of stuff into a 1-hour episode, and investigations that would otherwise take weeks or maybe months seem to take only hours or days. Also, there is no way a crime lab report would take 30 minutes, as they have to be thorough in their work. Another thing that takes time is background checks and running searches on people. One thing the show loves to do is seemingly tap into traffic cameras or other agencies' cameras, which apparently is all fabricated, and the idea that cops are involved in a gunfight every week is pure fantasy. If this was the case, the turnover in police would be incredibly high, and there would be funerals every week. So let's just be glad that one is a little far-fetched, right? What do you make of the show's realism? Let us know below. A slightly embarrassing story now for the real-life CPD chief. Stay tuned to hear it all. During a routine traffic stop last month, police found 42 grams of heroin in a Lexus belonging to Chicago PD's Chief of Internal Affairs, Yolanda Talley, in an incredibly embarrassing turn of events for the chief. It was revealed the car wasn't actually impounded after the haul, as is standard. Apparently, Talley's niece was behind the wheel, and when she was pulled over, her boyfriend, Kenneth Miles, was seen to be trying to dispose of 84 heroin wraps. The piece was reported to have told officers, "My auntie's probably your boss," which would only have served to anger the police chief, presumably. The decision was made not to impound the car after it was evident Talley was not involved in any illegalities, which caused onlookers to question why. As usual, it is standard practice to impound a vehicle if it's used in illegal activity. But as we well know, the police live by a different set of rules. The officers who made the stop were also pulled off street duty shortly after the incident, raising more questions. As always, thanks for joining us today, and remember to hit that like and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Bye, guys.